Hello, Divine Feminine. You know, a few songs keep coming to me that, I mean, how can I not think about you when I hear them? First is Unforgettable by Nat King Cole, and the other is Best of My Love by the Eagles. And you know, it's funny. I mean, we've been through our ups and downs, ins and outs, our wash cycles, each on our bicycles, going, going, and going. And there are definitely times, my love, that you have completely frustrated me and feels like tangled up areas of my life that I thought were tangled up, but then, or I thought those areas weren't tangled up, and then as it feels like I untangle them, I see for myself with my own handiwork that it was already tangled and that you were just pointing it out. And then I feel this feeling of like, I feel like I feel many things. I feel like a duck trying to run on water. Or what is it? An albatross? Like from that movie, the Rescuers Down Under, where the albatross bird just had a hard time taking off and like trying to run and get up and crashing down. And you beguile me in so many ways because there are times when I think I know what you're going to do. I know who you are. I know what you'll say or how you'll react, and then you don't. And you know what? You know what is strange, feminine, is like I feel like it's always been that way and that I just refuse to see it. That you don't make choices like everybody else does. I think, especially because of like people on my end, pirates and karmics and whatever you want to call them, I feel like they all tried to convince me to do that all or nothing, black or white thing. Either you were with us low life pirates, or you were with the pish posh good guys side. And you've never been one really to ever take sides. It's funny because you're also not one of those people who plays Switzerland and plays in the middle. You definitely like your thoughts and opinions. You see things that many people don't see, and you find balance in all things. And you allow yourself to flow in a way I've never seen a person do. I feel like because of my times with you that I've been able to do it too, but that's the only other experience that I've had of it, and it felt foreign to me. But I don't know how you do it, feminine. Even, I swear, there are things that you could do with me that I would never forgive anyone else for. But there's just something about the way that you do it. And what I know is the intention behind what you do. And it's like, you're always so obvious about things. I feel like I grew up in an environment where everyone was always hiding something. And I realize it's not that you're not ever hiding anything, but with you, half the time it's just your feelings, and it's like, it's always good feelings, and it's like you're just trying to have good boundaries and be respectful of my space, and I took that as deceptiveness in the ways that other people deceive me, in ways that people have deceived you too, that even I have deceived you. But see, even in that, you're like an enigma. You're like a puzzle that I love to. It's like one that I can't solve, but one that I can watch put itself together, pull itself apart, rearrange itself into a new puzzle, and then go back together. And it's just something about that that I love. I don't know, lately I've been thinking a lot about, like, who am I without, like, if I take away the labels of what I do for work or being a parent or family, friend, partner, all of that, like, who am I? Who am I when it's just me? And I've also been thinking about, like, why do I have the people around me? Like, if I take away the things that they do for me, why would I have them there? Do I like them? Most of them, no. Like, are they helping me with things? No. Like, did they help in any way with my dreams or goals or credibility or reputation? No. And then I think about those same people, and I've been asking myself, like, who would still be here if I had nothing, if I had no emotional energy to give, and I didn't party with them and elevate the room, and I didn't give them any money, like, who would stay? And I can't look at a single person around me and say that any of them would. And the crazy thing is, feminine, I mean, you're like everywhere in my mind. Like, when I think about that stuff, then I think about you. And I think about the fact that even at a distance, with an unknowable time of reunion, you still have never left me. And I feel like in all this, between stubbornness and cowardice and trying to protect you and me, that I realized something that you tried to tell me many, many times, which was that it's not necessarily that, how do I even put words to it, feminine? It feels like it's that you were a part of me before I met you. And you became an even bigger part of me when we met and when we had union the first few rounds. I remember the first few years even. I really couldn't get enough. I don't know how I stayed away so much. It was mostly just being wrapped up in karmic cycles. Just kept demanding more and more of me. And when they sucked me dry, you were there. And when I got wrapped up into other cycles, work and family, and they sucked me dry, you were there. You were there, you were there, you were there, you were there. You were always there. And you know, I think maybe there was some part of me that wanted to test myself to see could I live in existence without my divine feminine? Because I don't know, you know, something about, it's not you, but it's something about thinking about you. It makes me feel like I want to be able to say that I'm capable of doing anything on my own, and in so many ways I have leaned on you, and even just minimally, for the energy. And I didn't see that about myself for a long time, but once I did see it, it made me feel like the biggest user. It made me realize how much I use other people too. Like, I think about the karmic that I'm wrapped up with right now. Like, I really have to admit to myself that I got with her because I thought that she would help me financially. I thought that she would help with the bills and the rent. I thought she would help with the kids and the social stuff. I thought she would do for me what you would do, and be there for me emotionally and energetically, be loyal and help me build up my reputation, all the things that we talked about when I first picked her. And you know, now all I see when I look at her is basically that she had promised to be for me what you are now. Like, I know you weren't in the perfect place either. I think I finally pulled you off the pedestal, divine feminine. You're still way up on a big, beautiful pedestal, but I think I recognize your humanness now. It's not. It's not. You are larger than life in so many ways, but that doesn't make you not human. And at some point, I'm gonna bring you a very well-deserved apology for treating you like you were supposed to be perfect, especially when dealing with someone as imperfect as me. But you know what, feminine? Like even if this karmic, even if any of the karmics who have basically fawned all over me, backed me up into corners, like even if they had done what they said they would do, if they had been the version of you that I thought they were going to be, foolishly thought. I don't know why I thought anybody could be you. You know what it is? I think it's because in the ways that I grew up and the things that I was taught to take from the medias and the things that happen around me, I guess I thought that the things that you did and the things that you were able to manifest, that anybody could do that. And it was just a matter of willpower and I don't know what I thought it was, but there's just something. I feel like in so many ways I'm mad at myself for running off the way that I did and not working on things, procrastinating, placating, being a victim about things, being a brat and a jerk. But at the same time, I feel like I've come to this space to where I've realized you can soar because you're an eagle. And you can float down to flowers gracefully because you're a butterfly and a bee. And you can protect yourself because you're a lioness, a tigress, a mama bear. And you can do the things that you can do because those are your magics. They are things that are yours. They're not things that can be copied or taken. They're not things that I could find in anyone else because they're not in anyone else. You know what's incredible, feminine? Like when I had those epiphanies, felt like lightning struck me because then I realized something that I had not realized that I did not realize. That I'm an individual. That yes, I am a part of the collective too, but I'm an individual. Because just the fact that you exist, that you are you, that you live authentically and in as much kindness as you can, that you are able to flow and make different decisions than any collective I've ever known you to be a part of. That you can be shadow and light of differing degrees at different times. That you can change your stars and mine. It made me realize that if you're an individual, that everybody's individuals. And also that if I had any connection with you, especially one that you find valuable enough to appreciate and to hold on to without holding, to be willing to fight for and speak for, but without denying realities. I don't know what to call it. You find a balance. You always do. And it made me realize that the only reason that I never realized that I was an individual and that I was connected to you because I am good too is because I had all these people around me that, like, they just wanted to stay a part of the herd. They didn't feel safe on their own, and they choose to stay there. They choose to stay in that passive-aggressive, placative state and just go through cycle after cycle, the wash cycle. In an old washer that can only take small loads at a time. Otherwise, it dances all over the room and disconnects from the pipes, and you gotta fix everything all over again. You know what's funny about it, about everything too, feminine, is I feel like there's not a thing that I can do in this world that does not make me think of you. If I push you away, I think about you because, I mean, we both know me. If nothing else, emotionally, I've been a player. Financially, I've been a player. And to push you away, to not keep you in my pocket as a backup plan, that means that you're the first that I've done that with. For any reason, whether anger or nobility. And so whenever I look around at everyone else that I try to hold on to, it just reminds me. It reminds me that I'm not holding on to them because of love. I'm holding on to them because of fear. I'm holding on to them because of lack of self-esteem. I'm holding on to them because, well, to be honest, it feels like they're always letting me go. And you know what's crazy is, like, I can constantly feel them letting go, and I know that if I let them go, it'll just go. It'll just fall away. And what will remain is knowing that that happens with everybody except you. And that even if we're not talking, you're still there. And not because you force it, or I mean, for a while I thought maybe there was some sort of spell work, but I realized you never needed it. Not with me. I was in love with you from the minute I first saw you. I tried to convince myself it wasn't true. You know, the circumstances we were in seemed inappropriate to have the feelings that I had. And it felt crazy to think about telling anybody about some love at first sight thing, especially in the world that I come from. But you know, it's funny, I can see, I don't know, maybe it's what you call timelines. Like, I can see the timeline that I, like, even if I choose to stay in the wash cycles with the karmics, I will definitely always be thinking about you. Because they're always thinking about you. They're watching you most of the time. They remind me of you more often than other things do. Like, as in literally speaking about you. And then in all the things that they don't do that you did do, I remember you. And in all the things that they do that you would never do, I'm reminded of you. And in the things that you do that surprise me, that I never thought that you would do, I'm reminded that they're not you, and you're not them. And when I think about if I stay in this old life, I can't, like, talk about never move on. Staying around these people, I will always be reminded. And it always brings me back to love, like, no matter how much they've tried, and they have tried and tried and tried, and even I tried to give in to them because there were so many saying that I needed to push you away, that I needed to let you go, that I needed to stick to the circus that I've been in and make it work. And no matter how many times they've tried to push me to fight with you, to do more with you, I couldn't. And much of it is like that. Whenever, even when I think about reasons that could be legitimate as to why we're not compatible, I see all these reasons why we are and why the contrast is good, and those are things that I learned from you. And then I think about, like, if I was to find some middle path where I could have it all, I could have you and them and play the peacekeeper and get everything straightened out, but then it'd be more of the same still. Like, anything, I feel like anything to do with my karmics of my family and friends and romantic partners and work people, like, everything about them will always remind me of you and always bring me back to wanting and wishing to be with you. But then I think about, what if I was to let it all go and just go somewhere else? Be someone else, be someone completely different. But then again, Then again, feminine, I would be thinking of you because that's kind of what you did, isn't it? You changed your stars and you're still the same core person. You didn't like just fakely change who you are, you grew. And even if I was to fakely change and do it a different way, I'd still be basically following in your footsteps. And if that felt better, that would just make my heart break all over again because it would mean that you did the right thing. And again, I chose to procrastinate, to placate, to complain that I was tired, that I was broke, that I was in situations that you didn't understand or other people didn't understand. And when you were out there doing things, making stuff happen, shaking things up, I can't see any timelines whether I stay with any of the karmics or go and become someone new somewhere new without any of the karmics that I wouldn't constantly be thinking of you. And you know what the funny thing is, feminine? There's a part of me that's afraid that if I come back your way, it's like, yeah, I do fear some rejection from you. I do fear fights between us and various things like that, but at the same time, I think my bigger fear is if we come back into union, what if I treat you bad again? What if that's when, like, because I have you, I don't think of you as much. I don't cherish you as much. You know what's funny is I used to be afraid of what if you get bored with me? And now I think I'm more concerned about what if I was to get bored with you? And not because you do things that are boring. I realize you're always doing something interesting, but because I feel like maybe somewhere in me I have this strange fetish that has to do with these karmic cycles, like a love for the drama, a love for being that guy that people are fighting over, a love for knowing that my partner is possessive of me. Like, what if those are things that maybe not that I need them, but what if those are things that I want? What if I like a little bit of the shadowy stuff? And then I think about, but my feminine, she lives in light. And yes, she can be in shadow, but could she be happy in a middle world with me? And would I be happy with her? I don't know. I feel like there's some part of me that's your voice that's telling me that I only like the other stuff because that's what I've been taught to like. And that there's another part of you that says there's always a third and a fourth and a fifth way. And I'm just triple thinking things. But that's where my thoughts are, is thinking about how I know in this lifetime. It's funny to say, even if I could get away from thoughts of you, I don't think I'd ever choose to. It's been long enough in separation and enough things have happened that I know that it's a choice, that I choose to think fondly of you, that I choose to think about best case scenarios with you, that I choose to put myself in positions where I will always remember you, always be searching for you in a crowd, always be looking to see if you drive by somewhere that I am. Always wondering what you would do in each dilemma and how you would celebrate in each moment that is celebratory. And all the ways that you might sass me when I'm not standing in my integrity. I don't know, feminine. I feel like there are many people in my life that got my firsts. Like me and my first partner, my first love, my first spouse, my first child's mom, my first friend, my first business partner, all of that stuff, but you never had to be first because you've always been the best. And I feel like even now, like no matter what, I feel like we could have the worst, biggest fight ever of any fight I've ever known, and I would still see you as the best. Somehow, in my heart, just transforms it in my mind that I would see you, if nothing else, as the best fight. Because there's just something about you that I realize that's why I gave you the best of my love, and you always give me the best of your love. And so my thoughts under this Leo Virgo full moon, because I've been paying a little more attention to the moons, as you suggested I should do long ago. And I've been leaning into the spirituality of things a little bit more, like I told myself I wanted to do ages ago. And as tired as I am, I've been reaching towards meeting commitments I made to myself, for myself. Because that's the example that you provided, and I love it a lot. I want to be able to say that I can do that I can make commitments to myself and keep them. Spent a life, probably many lifetimes, trying to keep commitments to other people, but I think I realized that if I can't keep a commitment to myself, how can I keep one to you? If I can't keep myself happy, how can I be happy with anyone?